Okay, I believe we're ready to go. Just taking note of the time, 4 minutes in. Hello, I need to apologize that I am a couple of hours late to when I usually stream. On Mondays, I was doing some travel around town. Usually on Mondays, I'm streaming starting at 4 p.m. Arizona time, quote unquote, which is Mountain Standard, but Google never shows Mountain Standard Time correctly, so I just say Arizona time. It's currently 6. And today, instead of microstream, because there is a new update to show off in SHADOWBOX, I will be showing off the new update in SHADOWBOX. If this is your first time checking this out, this is a free game that you can download on Steam right now. It's in beta for Windows. We're looking to expand access to include Mac and Linux as well, and maybe other stuff, who knows. And this is a interactive virtual museum. You are looking at 3D scans of different fossils all throughout, and today we're showing off beta 1.2, which is the 4th update that we have issued since the beta launched back on January 1st. And typically I'm doing these by myself, but today we have another developer on the call. Say hello.
Hello.
So if you would like to talk at any point about kind of the stuff that you've done. So Brayton has done all of the menus, all of these wonderful interactive things that actually do what they say, like increase and decrease brightness. We have one of the new things that has changed is that motion blur is disabled by default. I had no idea that motion blur was even on, but now that that was pointed out to me, we've got it turned off by default. If for some reason you like that, it is now enableable, but it's off by default. Yeah, I don't like that. So if you want to say a few words about what's new, there we go. Besides that.
Yeah, real quick. Motion blur, as you just mentioned, but also if you go into the control settings, we now have a camera sensitivity slider. It defaults to 1, but it can go from 0.01 to 1.99, and also invert camera X and Y, also known as Hank and plane controls.
Woo. Okay, there we go. So this is a great example of why doing an open beta on this was precisely the move that I wanted, in order to get as much feedback as I could for how people actually interact with software like this, with the intent of making it as accessible to as many people as possible. I am struggling to do it with both axes inverted, but some people do. We got a message on the Steam forums from someone saying, I can pull up the exact quote, but essentially, hey, this looks cool, but I'd like to be able to invert the y-axis because I'm a plane, not a person, referencing the fact that in flight sims, the y-axis is inverted. So, that's a great example of something I never would have thought to include, because this is awful. This is the worst. But for that one guy who wants to have it that way, it's now in there. So enjoy and have a good time. But I will never do that again. Okay, now everything's back. I'll also point out this has been updated to show that the game menu is on escape, but the collectibles, which are all music items right now, are under tab. So if you hit tab, and this was another thing that Brayton worked on for this update, we now have all of these. So this menu's been here but hasn't actually been referenced, so I made sure to fix that. And there was one epitaph around the corner, and there are now 3 more that have been scattered throughout the Mausoleum. If you would like to do some exploration on your own to find them, that's cool. Over the course of this, just to make sure there's some record somewhere of how to find them, I'm going to go and collect them all real quick. But that's a lot of what went into this update. On my portion...
And check out a fossil
right,
somewhere.
right. So going in on the inspection, and this is another thing that Brayton did. So not only is this all thanks to all of their hard work, but also now there's an extra element, so you can use your arrow keys or movement keys.
Or WASD.
Yeah, it works with both. I'm doing either right now. So now you can move these around to more precisely, if you want to zoom, move up and down. So now you can get even closer and more specific with which angle you want to inspect these at. So we are getting...
Yes, it's very wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. We are getting closer and closer to having, the absolute most, the closest you can physically get to seeing this fossil without seeing it in real life, which for 99.99% of people is just not feasible, which is the whole point of the project. So the first epitaph is over here, the introduction. And if you, like me, do not want to listen to my own voice, you can go to epitaphs and hit stop, and it will no longer play. I'm going to vault over that real quick and go check out Real, False, and Phony Fossils. This was the new exhibit that opened last update, and I actually got to bring this on a Steam Deck, which the game is not officially supported for, but it still actually runs pretty okay. Just don't go into the Geological Eras tour if you're playing this on Steam Deck at the moment. But I took this and was able to play it on a Steam Deck, plugged an HDMI into a TV at a middle school, the one my mom used to teach at, which I visit about once a year for career day. So I was able to show up close and really show off like what real fossils actually look like and how to tell them apart from other stuff, and it was a really cool experience. But there is now an epitaph is in the corner over here.
Epitaph 2, A Quest for Life.
Shush. So I included this particular one is in this exhibit because it talks about how to tell fossils apart from rocks. So there's a lot of discussion, the same kind of things I was going into in person while lecturing about this particular exhibit. That is all, a lot of that commentary and more is on that epitaph, so you can check all of that out. Ta-da! We are working on the loading screen bug, which will... Hey, that reappeared. That's interesting. Discovering new bugs in real time. Let's go to... Hey, that's new. So, there are some upcoming exhibits that are already revealed. Those are already pushed on the Steam page. So the Green River Formation, everything that's marked as coming 2025 is not currently turned on, so if you run into the teleporter here, you're not going to go anywhere. So the Green River Formation is coming in 2025, the Atarki Sandstone, the Cliff House Sandstone, and then back here in the Triassic, we've got the Moenkopi Formation. So these are all of the exhibits that I've already promised to come out for this year. I don't think I'm... it might be revealing something new. I don't know if anyone would be surprised to hear that I've got more I'm working on than just those. And so your little hint as to what new things may be coming in the near future besides those is hidden in this kind of mural over here. So these some of these fossils have been here already, but in this new update there are a bunch of new ones. So if you look really closely, you might be able to spot what some of the new stuff is. This is one of them, shark vertebra from the Eocene. Wonder what that might be. We've got a couple of new ammonites in the Jurassic section, as well as this lovely fossilized prawn over here in the Jurassic. In the Triassic, there's a bunch of new bones lying around, including the same interesting vertebra that is now outside the Moenkopi Formation, so infer what you may about what that means. And as always... Nope, I'm stuck. As always, you cannot damage anything in here by jumping on it. And see if I can stick my head out of the wall. There we go. So remember that this is a beta, and part of the point is to try to break it on purpose so that I can learn about how to make it unbreakable. So, you know, by all means, part of the feedback you guys should be submitting on the Steam forum is like, hey, I did such and such and I completely broke the game, because all of that is informative. If we head over to the Devonian, looks like there's a couple of new brachiopods. Some really interesting folds there. Some new stuff in the Silurian. Here's a trilobite. This is actually the same model, just showing different parts. It's part of the head. And then we've got this nice cryonoid over here in the Silurian. Another trilobite here in the Ordovician. And then some interesting stuff here in the Cambrian, of which there is not currently an exhibit for. Another trilobite right there. There's actually 2 trilobites. And it looks like there's a brachiopod right there. And then some interesting stuff right here. That might look like a trilobite, but it's actually not. And if you look really closely on this one, you'll see someday we will implement a... so here's the crouch. Crouch, I guess, is under control. Someday I will figure out how to implement a some kind of laser pointer on the reticle so I can point out exactly where this stuff is. But right at the center of the screen there is a fossil. So all stuff that will be shown further in depth in the future. But for now, if you want a sneak peek at what is going to be included in future updates and releases, this is usually going to be the first place you'll see it. You'll see new models kind of crop up, and there won't be much explanation with them. Of course, if you've watched these devlog streams before, you know that this is the place that I kind of give extra commentary and explanation. But officially in-game, these are all mysterious new objects, which will, over the coming months, you'll get a little bit more insight into. And I'm just going to go ahead and show one of the other epitaphs. So if you go into our menu, 0 and 2 have been collected. If you would like to find number 1,
Epitaph
that's in this
1.
exhibit. Epitaph 1 is called What Happens When We Die, and I thought it was appropriate to put that in the Permian exhibit because the end Permian extinction was the closest that all of life on Earth has ever gotten to completely coming to an end, which is kind of terrifying. So I thought that was a good inclusion for the Permian. And finally, the other disc is going to be in the corner over here of the Menifee exhibit. There's Epitaph 3. And that's kind of an explanation of why I built this program, why the Mausoleum of Natural History is so important to me as an early career paleontologist and as someone trying to not just get the word out about the work that I'm doing, but getting the word out that paleontology is still an active field. We have not by any means solved all of the questions that surround evolution and the history of life and all those things. And that the general public is really not being served what I think is the correct and accurate and inclusive information about what it is that we actually do. So as I kind of explain in there, all of this is part of what I see as being my responsibility as a scientist, especially one who works on public lands here in the US, to make sure that what we're doing is actually being seen by the public and appreciated by the public. We've done a little bit of correction on some of these. This guy is still, the inspection is still a little wonky, but now you can hit the down arrow key and he comes back into focus. There we go. Fun fact, this particular petrified tree stump is called Stump on a Hump. The stump is on top and the hump is on bottom, so there you go. So we're still working on all of the different aspects of this program. Again, it's a beta, and I would like to encourage anyone who's curious about not just seeing what's in here, but getting an idea of what else could be included and all sorts of fun stuff, to give the game a download. Go ahead and head on over to Steam. It's free right now. It will continue to be free forever, so there is no reason not to at least claim a copy. And if you're able to, if you've got a Windows PC that's able to run this program, go ahead and download it, give it a play, and then head over to the Steam forums to let me know if you have any feedback or suggestions. I also especially appreciate it when people post reviews, particularly if they're nice, to let other people know that this is a project worth looking into and worth giving feedback for. Because as you've seen by our new updated control settings with our invert X and Y, we're very receptive to including anything that will allow a wider variety of people, wider variety of accessibility needs and preferences and so forth, to be able to actually give this a try and see what you like. So that's my spiel. If anyone in chat has any questions or comments that they'd like to share, go ahead and post those. Otherwise, I think this is a pretty good look into what's new. Do you have any extra thoughts, Brayton?
No, I think you touched upon everything.
Yeah, me too. We are...
Yeah. I think the next things I can work on would be the trying to fix the loading screen. That one's only a little difficult because it's an external plugin, and so I'd have to go into the C++ files to edit it instead of like through Blueprint. And also seeing if we can get that laser pointer implemented.
Yeah,
maybe
that would
something
be
where you
cool.
just, click a like right or left click while you're playing, and it pauses the game and just brings up a laser.
Yeah, that'd be fun. It would be fun to see. Eventually, I'll figure out how to like animate things and make the mouth talk. All stuff in the future. Got to keep in mind, guys, that well, I have a part-time job. Brayton has a full-time job doing real stuff, doing a real important work that helps people, and I also exist. Doing part-time work at the university. So this is all stuff that we do in our free time. And again, we appreciate any and all feedback. And, if you like it, please do let us know so that other people can see that and see your endorsement and enjoy the game too. And with that, I think we're going to say goodbye to the Devlog stream for now. And I will be back next week, most likely streaming under the microscope again, unless somehow we manage to push out another SHADOWBOX update in the next week, but I kind of doubt it. We just finished this one like late last night, so it's not even anything new to push yet. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see